All right, for this lesson, we're going to take a look at the E shape and we're going to move it around the neck. What I love about this guitar lick in particular is that we're using lots of open strings. And I love songs and chords where I can play lots of open strings where they just ring out. And while that's happening, we're just taking one shape and just moving it around the neck. It's a really fun one to play. You can use whatever rhythm pattern you want. We'll look at one in particular that we can use for this, but it's a lot of fun. And as long as you know the E chord, you're going to do fine. All right, so let's take a look at the riff. It goes like this. All right, so let's take a closer look and see what our hands are doing. On the fretting hand, I mentioned we're just going to be playing the E shape. So we're starting on the E chord itself. And then all we're doing is just moving this shape around the neck. So our second chord that we're going to, we're taking this shape and we're going to slide it all the way up to the 8th and 9th fret. So our index finger is going to play the 8th fret, our other two fingers are going to play the 9th fret. And then the other strings will be open, so we're going to strum all 6 strings. And then we're going to take that same shape, move it back to the 6th and 7th frets. Strum all 6 strings. Now, I know when you're first starting, you feel like you have to count every fret. What you can do is start using these marker dots as guides. Let them sort of show you where you're supposed to go so that when you're strumming, you don't have to stop and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You'll just know, according to our dot markers, where you have to go. So for the second chord, instead of having to count all the way up to 8 or 9 frets, just remember where your index finger goes in relation to the dots on your guitar. So the index finger is actually going to go between the 2 dots, and then our next 2 fingers are going to go right on the dot. And it goes right on the dot before we get to the 12th fret, which is the octave where you're going to see the 2 dots. So just use these markers to your advantage. That's what they're there for. And then slide back. And then the other part of this song, the other 2 chords we'll be playing, same shape. We're just going to move our index finger to the 4th fret, our other 2 fingers to the 5th fret. And then we're going to slide back 2 frets. So our index finger now is going to be on the 2nd fret, our other 2 fingers on the 3rd fret. And then finish on the E chord. All right, so that's what our fretting hand is doing. Now let's take a look at our picking hand. What are we doing with the rhythm here? So we're just counting it, and you can use any rhythm pattern you want, but in this particular example, we're just counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, and I'm doing mostly downstrokes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and I might add an upstroke right at the end of the chord change. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, so a couple things to note here. I am adding an strum every once in a while, like usually right before I change chords, I'll add a little up strum. So I'll go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1. So and a 1. All right, in terms of how I'm strumming it, I like to use dynamics in my playing, so I'm not always just strumming full out all the time or all 6 strings, even though you can strum all 6 strings with this song and these chords. I like to sometimes just start with a nice strong strum on beat number 1, or when I get to the first chord or the next chord, and then usually some of the beats in between, I'm keeping the rhythm going, but I'm not necessarily hitting all 6 strings every time. Sometimes I'm just hitting the lower bassier strings. So I'm going full strum 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, and then I'll hit the lower strings. All right, so this one's a lot of fun. It's going to have you moving around the fretboard. You're going to be using dynamics with your picking hand. And if you don't know the E chord, go and learn it. Come back to this and have fun with it. It really is a lot of fun. I love it. All right, we'll see you in the next lesson.